What is up, guys, and welcome back to a brand new video. Today we're covering the Belgian Grand Prix for F1 2017 career mode. Ignore the fact that it says Hungary. We're going to progress through that. But today I'm doing another giveaway on Twitter. I gave away a code yesterday and I'm doing another one today. So go check out my Twitter like as soon as you can. That'll be probably your best chance to win a copy of F1 2017 for Xbox One. I only have codes for that platform as of yet, but hopefully in the next couple of days I can get something for PS4, and then eventually I can get some Steam codes for you guys as well. But getting back to this episode, chucking in a slightly older power unit for the practice. Heading into qualifying in the race, we might even chuck in a brand new power unit to see how far up the order we can progress. We've also lowered the difficulty ever so slightly, like I said, gone from 110 down to 105, and that hopefully should rectify the qualifying issues. But Friday practice, banging out all of the practice programs as we always do in order to progress the car further in terms of research and development. I believe we're on 600 odd resource points at the moment, and after these practice programs go through and we get the points for them, we should be able to upgrade the next component of the car. But up to the line for our qualifying run, we only just clear that, so it kind of shows that we're kind of a little bit edgy in terms of our one lap pace once again, but we'll work on that over the weekend. But there we go, that is all of the practice programs done. We're now going to go ahead and upgrade the engine once again, because we've got the Italian Grand Prix coming up, and if it comes in time for the next race, then man, that would really help us. But that's practice over, time for qualifying.
It's qualifying time at Spa, one of the mightiest tracks on the Formula One calendar. Long straights, up and downhill, Eau Rouge as well. This track isn't for the faint-hearted.
Okay, we know it's going to be a struggle to get out of this session, but give it your best shot.
This qualifying session is going to be quite interesting. I'm really eager to see how we go in this one. We have lowered the difficulty ever so slightly. That might be a tenth or two swing in our favour in terms of one lap pace, but being a power track as well, that could further set us back than where we normally would be. So we might find qualifying to be a little bit of a struggle, like we've seen in the past, but in saying that, we could even make it a Q3. I was not convincing at all when I said that, no. Even though McLaren Honda make it to Q3 in real life, we can't even get ourselves out of Q1 in most sessions, so this will be an interesting comparison to see what our pace is like versus McLaren Honda, who just came out of the summer break, looking fairly fresh in terms of their one lap pace. But we go across the line, P9, behind Danny Kvyat, our rival, who we are doing absolutely terribly against. We decided not to do 3 runs, so we only wanted to do 2, because, let's be honest, we're probably not going to get out of Q1 in this session, so I might as well save a set of ultras for the race in case we need them. And it turns out that Fernando and Marcus Ericsson didn't improve or didn't beat me in their first run, so I took a little bit of confidence in that heading into our final run of the session. Going through turn 1, I made an effort to brake very late and turn in late as well, and I definitely found a lot of time on the exit there. I was just a little bit conservative on my first run. That's something that I feel like I've been lacking as well in my own driving. I haven't been as good under brakes as what I normally am since switching the pedals, and I haven't been trail braking as well as like some others like TRL Limitless. I've been watching a lot of his videos lately, so I know I can do a better job, and
Someone's just posted a faster time. You've been dropped to the 10th row, P19.
Oh dear. Fernando's just improved as the rain starts to hit on our final lap here. So yeah, I know I can improve. I'm not driving perfectly, so I don't want to completely lay blame on the car. There's a lot of work for me to do within my own driving style in order to get the most out of the car. But we're not doing too badly at this stage. I feel like we're like, I don't know, 85, 90% in terms of getting the most out of it. Naturally as well, you'll get faster and faster as you go on when it comes to just unlocking pace in a F1 game. But come the end of the lap, the rain got too heavy, and the track conditions were well past their best, and you saw the delta just drop and drop and drop through that middle sector, and unfortunately that was our qualifying over. I was really pissed off, in all honesty. That's yeah, we had the chance ruined to possibly beat our teammate Fernando, because we did beat him in the first run. He got a clearer run towards the end before the rain got too heavy, and he's out-qualified us. I think he got 18th place, so there we go. We were never going to get out of the first session anyway. It was just a shame that we weren't able to have a clear go at Fernando. But either way, we weren't too far away, just 4 or 3 tenths. And we were actually looking really good on our final lap there, despite having rain throughout the entirety of that lap. So, not too bad. We're making steady progress. We're a lot more competitive than what I thought we'd be in a massive power track. And potentially with an upgrade heading our way in the next race, you know, anything's possible, especially with the engine upgrade we have heading our way. So, speaking of that, we are going to be updating the power unit to a fresh one for the race. We're going to leave the energy store and the MGU-H on slightly older components because they're, let's be honest, the least important of the power unit components. There's not going to be too much performance found there anyway. So, yeah, we'll be switching that on. I also have a gearbox penalty because I had to switch out the gearbox early. I was having some issues in practice. Lost a gear a couple of times, and that was really interrupting our pace. And so I thought, you know, it's already well past 50%, and we were only at our 4th race completed. We would have had to have done this race and Monza before we would get a fresh gearbox for Singapore. So I thought, let's swap it out now, take the pain, and see how we go for the rest of the season. We will probably only need to switch out the gearbox once, maybe twice more, and we should be fine. But enough waffling. That's qualifying. We'll be at the back for the start of the race, unless there's a lot of penalties for other people. But let's see how we go for the Belgian Grand Prix.
Anthony Davidson is alongside me in the commentary box to take you through all the action today. Now, it's a closely matched field here in Spa, Ant. So where do you think we're going to see somebody make a difference?
If they're as close as we're expecting them to be, especially through the midfield, then being able to keep the front tyres in good condition could make the difference. You always lose a chunk of downforce at the front when you're in the turbulent air of another car, which tends to cause understeer, which in turn causes front tyre degradation. Now, too much damage there could force an early pit stop and put you at a slight disadvantage, so the drivers will want to be careful not to be too aggressive early on in the Grand Prix.
We're almost ready to go then, and this is what the starting grid looks like for today's race.
And now you'll find out why the title of the video is exactly what it was. I believe we saw Lewis Hamilton starting from pole, or it said he was on pole on the grid, but now he gets demoted to position 7 after some kind of penalty. Raikkonen has a penalty as well, and as we scroll down through the order, you'll see plenty more people with the same story. Perez, Palmer, Stroll, we got a penalty as well. Marcus Ericsson with a penalty, yet somehow, even though outqualifying the Sauber driver, we still end up behind him. Yeah, that was a bit weird. That was a bit screwed over there. Maybe we took the gearbox penalty after the other drivers did, which is a little bit bullcrap. But we have to move on. We're going to be last place anyway. It's where I was expecting to be, especially after the gearbox swap. But here we go, ready for the Belgian Grand Prix. We've got a very interesting race ahead of us. Hopefully there's a lot of retirements and we can get off to an amazing start to get our championship back on track. Here's a team radio.
As things stand, we'll be 11th in the championship.
Well, that's a pretty scary prospect. If things stay as they are for this Belgian Grand Prix based on starting positions, we won't be inside the top 10 by race end. So we well and truly need to get our wriggle on in this championship and get back in the points to get ourselves back in the mix. But here we go, ready for the start of the Belgian Grand Prix. 5 red lights and we are underway here in Spa. Fairly decent start. We're making some gains on the Saubers. We might go up the inside into turn 1. It's a nice overtaking opportunity. We seize that and move into what is like 17th, 16th place. It's actually 15th. Much better start than what I was anticipating. But going up our Rouge for the first time, there could be a little bit of hip and shoulder going up ahead, so hopefully we can make the most of that. We've got one of the Williams ahead of us. I believe it's Lance Stroll, so hopefully we can possibly, and I mean possibly, find a way around the outside of him. No, not really. That was very wishful thinking of me there. We have a look up the inside though into Lecom. Didn't quite work out there, and it's P15 for the moment. So this is our position for the race. This is where we need to knuckle down, see if we can hold on if we can, or at least make the most of some squabbling up ahead and see where the Grand Prix can take us. Like I said, we're going to be doing a one-stop today. Some people might be gambling on a two-stop if they start on the ultra soft tyres like Lance Stroll is doing right in front of us. But those kind of guys, they're going to have a pretty big pace advantage from the outset. You can see Lance is already pulling away from us at the end of the first lap. So, yeah, it's all going to be about trying to, you know, maintain a decent pace, try not to get involved in too much squabbling. As we see there, Lance Stroll has caught up to the back of Danny Kvyat and the train ahead. Those guys have all fallen into our clutches now. We got the inside of Stroll. Very, very late move up the inside, locked up and everything. And we got the move done very, very late there and into 14th place. I thought that position was done and dusted. I thought I was never going to see Lance Stroll for the rest of this Grand Prix. And yeah, there we go. We managed to get him up the inside there. This is a replay from the onboard shot of how sketchy that was. That was really line ball. We had to put everything on the line there. It was just pure desperation to get that move done, and I was quite glad that it worked out for us in the end. There's been a problem back in the pack. There is a... Whoa! Massive crash there for Jolyon Palmer there. He's run into the back of one of the Haas cars, and it all happened from... I think it was the Sauber or the Toro Rosso going very, very slowly, and he's out of the Grand Prix. I believe he would have took one of the Haas drivers with him. So, yeah, I think we're down to 18 runners now in this Grand Prix. Somehow, there was no safety car. I couldn't believe that. It's been so many races now without a safety car. I'm starting to believe it doesn't exist anymore. We've seen a couple of virtuals, but not the full course caution to grace us with its presence in the Grand Prix. That would have really made things interesting for us. We might have gone on to the mediums to the end of the race, who knows. But we're carrying on now, pushing on really hard and overstepping the boundaries by a long way, and only just managing to keep the car in a straight line. You'll see on the replay here, we just overstep onto the gravel trap and it sent us flailing left and right, and somehow we were able to actually catch the massive slide there and carry on. Thankfully without losing too much time either. That was definitely a get out of jail free card on that one. But we carry on to lap 5. I believe Lance Stroll made his pit stop on the previous lap, and then Wehrlein made his stop on the lap after that. And now this is Fernando Alonso we're following on board, getting chased down by Felipe Massa and Max Verstappen, I believe. So hopefully Nando can do me a good job here and hold him up for as long as possible, and maybe, just maybe, we can get in the battle with those guys. But unfortunately that didn't last too long. Nice straight line speed, Honda. We can't hold on to positions to save our lives. As soon as we sort out the straight line speed, it makes things much easier for us in the race, and who knows, points might be a lot easier to come by in future races. But yeah, as soon as they got in front of Alonso, they chased me down in like what seems like no time at all. And now Verstappen has passed me, and I think Perez might be going up my inside as well into turn 1. He might give us the DRS, so I just let him have the inside, let him have the position. We'll take the slipstream and the better exit leading up to Al Rouge, but that was very short-lived as they basically escaped DRS and 1 second within a sector, and now they're pretty much gone. So next up we've got Esteban Ocon and Felipe Massa. No, it must have been Stroll that overtook me the first time. Apologies about that. But these guys as well have already made their stops, just like the other guys have, and we might be contesting them later on in the Grand Prix if they make a second one. But again, we're going side by side here with Felipe Massa into the very understeery right-hander. We managed to hold on to the position after a few bouts of contact. We managed to bully him away from us. I say bully, it wasn't that bad. He was just trying to force his way around the outside. We didn't leave each other too much space. We left each other just enough for us both to exist, but I decided to take myself out of the battle and into the pits to fit on these soft compound tyres to go to the end. I learned my lesson from Austria. You don't want to battle too much. It gets to the point where it gets outrageous and you end up losing bucket loads of time versus other people who are on fresher tyres, like my teammate Fernando Alonso, who pitted on the previous lap. So I'm responding to his undercut, and we're going to take this set of tyres to the end of the Grand Prix. The gap to Alonso, team radio.
Well, ahead. They're on old super softs. We think they've got one more stop.
Yeah, thanks for that. Looks like Wehrlein is on the 2-stop, and hopefully that can be another position gain for us later on in the Grand Prix. Like I said, the guys who were in the Williams who stopped very early on have made their second stops as well. So this race is starting to open up for us now. Like I said, the lack of straight line speed is really going to leave us being a sitting duck. If we had the straight line speed of, say, yeah, even like the Williams or just a Mercedes powered car, we'd be able to hold on to these positions for much longer and make things much easier for us you know, later on in the Grand Prix because they haven't got so far off the road. This is why engine performance is so important. It just gives you free lap time without having to work too hard for it. But Stroll is gone. There's no way we'll chase him down. We move up to P15 as a few more people dive into the pits. And that might be Stroll. No, it's Massa. Continuously getting the Williams boys mixed up today, which is really annoying. But like I was saying before, the gap to Alonso was about 4 or 5 seconds. He's closing that down now lap by lap as I continue to squabble away with the AI. I'm definitely fighting a lot harder than what Alonso was, and that is starting to cost me a little bit of time. Can we go back up the inside of Massa into the bus stop? Yeah, it's a half little look there. We try and get the better exit off the final corner. Nothing really doing there, even though we took a much more flowing route through there. But yeah, it's back down to P14. Someone has gone off the track or is retired from the Grand Prix. It's Lance Stroll. Oh man, he was actually looking like he was going to score a decent amount of points there, possibly if he would have ranged his way back through the field. Another yellow flag. Someone else is going slowly. That's Sebastian Vettel, one of our championship leaders, has definitely got a major issue, either a front wing loss or what I suspect is probably a puncture, and he's just limping it back really slowly back to the pit lane. But it's finally come to the stage where Fernando Alonso has chased us down to literally nothing, and he's now setting me up for a pass, possibly into the hairpin right-hander after this. But we managed to stave him off for another lap. This is a replay of him following us into that hairpin. Massive lock-up for us. We're feeling the pressure of Fernando, who is clearly superior on this current set of tyres. Even though they're 1 lap older, he still has better pace than us, which is really puzzling. Definitely need to work on my pace. A lot of you new subscribers are probably going to think I'm a terrible driver. I haven't lived up to my potential at all on F1 2017. It's really frustrating, but we go side by side with our teammate. It's going to be interesting to see who comes out on top as we go up our Rouge. Hopefully we can get it sorted out by then. We go back up the inside. Who's going to get DRS? I'm not too sure where the detection line is. Alonso is in front of us. It might have been just there on the pit exit, so we might get DRS. But who's going to emerge in front as we go up our Rouge? We have the inside. Fernando tries to hang around the outside, realizes it's a lost cause, and drops down to second out of the 2 McLaren Hondas. This is a replay of the side-by-side moments. This is Fernando's on board. A little bit of wheel contact. He has the inside for the second part of the bus stop chicane. And yeah, it was a bit of a drag race to turn 1. And then another drag race up our Rouge. This was just awesome stuff. We were side by side for about half a lap here. And finally, Alonso concedes at our Rouge. Thank goodness for that. I don't think the team could have handled that you know, pressure of running side by side for any longer. And that's the onboard from Alonso. Kinda, yeah, just lost the momentum there, and probably would have lost the position anyway if he tried to hang around the outside. He didn't quite have the momentum. But yeah, we have 5 laps to go in this Belgian Grand Prix. My goal now is just ultimately to beat Fernando. It's really going to help us in the standings within the team. Help me, you know, get towards that first team driver, which we really, really need. It's taken me too long to get to this position to start beating Fernando and trying to get first team driver. Because as soon as we get that, we can get additional bonuses for the R&D stuff. But the fact that it's taken me this long to still be in with a shout of that is really hampering our season. Alonso goes up the inside there. I decide to let him go because I will get the slipstream, possibly the DRS, as we go onto the Camel Straights here. So up our Rouge. Alonso doesn't have the best top end speed there. He kind of just lost a bit of momentum there. We go round the outside now. DRS is open and he squeezes us to the outside. Doesn't quite work out for him though, and we take the spot back. So a really intense rivalry is starting to form here in the teammates here. You know, we don't really have many other cars to race with, so when we come to race each other, it really does mean a lot for both of our egos to stay in front of each other. 2 laps to go now as we cross the line for the 21st lap, and Alonso might go for the same move again. I'm perfectly happy for Fernando to take the lead out of the both of us in the turn 1, because it just means I'll be able to mug him off as we get to the top of Radion there. So we'll stick it up in rich revs. In terms of the fuel, you know, we're absolutely fine. I think we're like a lap and a half clear in terms of fuel, so we can afford to run rich for the rest of this race. We go around the outside. It's a carbon copy of last lap. He squeezes us, but it doesn't work to his favor, and we take P13 with only just over a lap to go in this Belgian Grand Prix. You can see everywhere else he doesn't really challenge us. It's just he sets up the move very nicely as he goes through the final corner. He gets really good traction out of that corner and puts me under pressure heading into turn 1. This is Valtteri Bottas winning the Grand Prix and buying his way into the championship fight with only a few races to go in the season. It's mad that we're so far into the season now. Yeah, I think this might be a record for us in terms of finishing a career mode season in like under 2 weeks. I don't think I've done it before, but hopefully we can do it this time. Through the final chicane, and this will be a small little victory within McLaren. We've beaten Alonso, and it's 13th place. Just.
That's the end of the race. We'll see you in Parc Fermé.
So, another fantastic victory for the Silver Arrows. And Anthony Davidson, give me your thoughts. How did they accomplish this result?
I think a large part of the result comes down to temperament. They were able to keep their heads when everyone around them was losing theirs, and that's allowed them to get the best out of the car, to maximise the strategy, and to stay out of trouble.
So as I say that, we can see the drivers coming out now to collect their trophies. It's yet more silverware to take back to their base in Brackley after another excellent Grand Prix.
So there we go, guys. That has been the Belgian Grand Prix. 13th place in the end. You know, it wasn't the best results of the season, but it's got to be one of the best races in terms of racing. You know, battling with AI. I think we had some really good scraps there with Alonso. We were fighting the Williams a lot at one point. We dive bombed a couple of people, made some really good moves stick, and we definitely felt like we were part of the race this time, which is much more encouraging. One thing, though, is we've lost a spot inside the top 10. Daniel Kvyat, ever since I made him my rival, he's been just bossing it. Like, he got the odd points here and there at the start of the season, but ever since, he has just been on a mission, and he's charging his way up the order. Maybe that's a thing. It was a thing in older games when you'd make someone your rival, they would like do a lot better than what they were previously doing, and it is the case again. McLaren, we're 9th in the standings in terms of the constructors. Sauber still on nothing, so I think we're pretty safe of holding down at least a top 9. We still want to move forward a couple of places if we can. Resource points, we're on 303. We can't really do anything with those until you get at least 500. Then you can open up some durability upgrades, but the areas we're looking to target is the engine, and those cost around 800 points for the minor upgrades. So that has been this episode for today, the Belgian Grand Prix. In the next one, we have the Italian Grand Prix at Monza. Massive power track, so hopefully the engine upgrade we've got lined up for that race will come in clutch and actually pass. We really do need the performance boost, so hopefully that can come in time for the next race. A lot of teams around us are upgrading very quickly, which definitely makes things a lot harder for us. So come Monza, we'll chuck in a new power unit. We'll hopefully have an engine upgrade, and we can be a little bit closer towards the front of the pack. Thank you guys so much for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed. Subscribe to the channel if you're new to see plenty more F1 2017 videos. And until the next one, I'll see you next time.